Syndicated political columnist Charles Krauthammer is here in Studio 57. His new book is called Things That Matter, 3 Decades of Passions, Pastimes and Politics. It's good to have you here. Welcome.
Pleasure to be with you.
You said that you were an early critic of Obamacare, but you also said that efforts to defund it was nuts. Do you think you've been proven right?
Unfortunately, yes, I think because it damaged the Republicans. And for those who oppose Obamacare, who think it is going to be a train wreck, and who do think it will undermine American health care, here we had an occasion when the Obamacare was launched on October 1st, where that would have been the focus of the country.
Right.
And instead, all we were looking at was the shutdown, a distraction from the real issue. So if you really were an opponent of Obamacare, you stepped on the story.
But now Senator Cruz and Senator Rubio this morning said they're still in favor of defunding Obamacare. And it still has the same potential, does it not, to do damage to what you think is the best future for the Republican Party in its efforts against Obamacare?
Exactly, and it still has no chance whatsoever of being enacted into law as long as we have a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate. It's a pipe dream, and you don't conduct politics on a pipe dream. And the fact is that if Obamacare is going to fail, and if it is going to be repealed, it will be as a result of the kinds of calamities that we're now seeing that are intrinsic to Obamacare, that it collapses on its own weight rather than pushed from the outside. I just think it's a bad strategy. I don't disagree with the aim. I just think it's absolutely the very wrong way to go about it.
You talk in your book about your medical training in psychiatry and about how powerful it can be, how powerful denial can be. Do you think that the GOP, the Tea Party, Republicans are in denial?
That's a good question.
I try not to practice psychiatry
anymore
on parties.
Oh, okay.
I used to do it on individuals, and that was hard enough.
But do you think the party needs some psychiatry?
It could use some psychiatry, but I'm actually a psychiatrist in remission right now, and I haven't had a relapse in 25 years. Still licensed, but I'm out of the business. Yeah, and I think denial is what you do for yourself.
Yes.
As a way to get through life. I'm not sure it's the way a party ought to get through politics, and the Republicans right now ought to get out of that mode and look at the reality.
Do you think it's, the front page of USA Today says Republicans may risk control of Congress over this fight? The poll numbers, we've got a new CBS News poll that show Republicans' disapproval rating has jumped since the shutdown. Do you think that's hyperbole, or do you think Republicans risk losing the House?
I think it's almost impossible for Republicans to lose the House because there's so many secure seats. I think what might be the consequence is that Republicans who had an excellent chance of winning the Senate, there are 5 very vulnerable Democratic senators up for re-election next year, and that may be forfeit. So the idea that Republicans might be able to recapture control of the Congress, and in fact, with that after 2014, to put pressure on Obamacare and try to bring it down, that again, ironically, might have dissolved as a result of the negative effects.
Is there one Republican candidate that you think would be the best person to turn to in 2016?
I wouldn't say one, but I would say this. The governors are the ones who derive the most benefit from the general disgust that people have with Washington.
Right.
So you start with a Christie, a Jindal in Louisiana, a Scott Walker in Wisconsin. If you come to any primary election or general election and you say, I'm not from Washington, you're already a leg up on the opposition.
Charles Krauthammer, good to see you.
Before you go, let me just say one thing about your book. Things That Matter, The Innocence of Dogs, Manners, and the Finer Use of the F Word. And on that note, we'll leave it alone.
It was my favorite column. I wanted to start the book with it, but the people at Crown Publishing thought
otherwise.
there was a rebellion.
Well, they were wrong.
They wanted to commit me
to see
if
you.
I did.
Charles Krauthammer, good to see you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And Things That Matter goes on sale today.